Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Friday. As you know, you see the jig, you know it's Friday. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am glad you're here for Story Time. Welcome, welcome, and apologies for coming in slightly late, but we're here. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you enjoy the story that we have for you today and our amazing guest. Today is actually the first time it's a pre-recorded visit of our guest, but it will still be wonderful. Stick around, hear Yamile read, and of course listen in for a little bit of conversation if you have the time, but hopefully you can catch it later in case you're rushing off to work or school or whatever else that you'll be planning to do this morning. Thank you so much for being here on Story Time. I am excited for our story today and excited to share it indeed, and to sit back and enjoy the reading as well. So this one is called Where Are You From? Yes, it is written by Yamile Saied Mendez and illustrations by Jamie Kim. And of course, this one is a powerful book, a beautiful book indeed, a lovely poem, one that hopefully you can sit back later and write your own Where Are You From poems later on. This one is a good one. Please stick around. Yamile Saied Mendez. This one was the first published from her, and I am excited for this one. Good morning to you. Please, as always, let me know where you're joining us from and who is joining in with you this morning, and I am glad that you're here. Please let me know. Oakland out here is still dark, as it has been the last few days. It's still dark at the time we start, and yes, and rain. Oh, wonderful rain out here in Oakland. We finally have some rain, and it is sustained, so I am happy for that, and we look like we'll be continuing for the next 4 to 5 days. Thank you so much for joining in, and of course sparing a thought that those do not have homes right now, that they can be in this wetness out there. So please let us always remember, spare a thought for somebody out there who might not be as advantaged as we are, and let us remember, if we can donate something, let us do it. If we can direct people somewhere, let us try and do that. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Absolutely love it that you are here with me today. We are starting with Where Are You From? And of course, we're reading this one with permission of Harper, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. So thank you so much to them for allowing us to share this lovely book right here on Storytime. And a big thank you indeed to Yamile Saied Mendez for joining us on Storytime and being here, reading to us, and of course, sharing some of life and insight into books. All right. Thank you so much for joining in. Let us see who is with us this morning and excited just like I am. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you. Yes, I am glad you're here. Happy Friday to you. Oh, Kafaya, thank you so much. Hugs coming right back to you. Thank you so much. Oh, yes, always. I am glad you're well, Kafaya. Miss you. Thank you so much for that lovely message. I am glad you're okay. Oh, yes. I'm glad you're ready. Good morning, Braylon and Chad. how are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining in. Pamela Courtney, good morning to you as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Absolutely love it. Thank you for making my heart smile right now. Thank you so much. Good morning to you one more time. Braylon and Chad, Pamela Courtney, and of course Kivaya. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Good morning to you, Chriselle. How are you doing today? And of course, Rocco, Clay, how are you today? Dark in Long Beach too, quite chilly. Stay warm, friends. Absolutely. You know what, Rocco, Clay, and Chriselle, I love that. I love that so much. Thank you for joining in out in dark Long Beach. Perfect setting for next week's stories, but we will be having some scary stories next week. Join in and I hope you enjoy them. Good morning to you, Terry. How are you doing today? And of course, Abraham, how are you doing out here in San Leandro? Thank you so much for joining in. Rain. Yes, it is raining out here. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you. Humphrey, good morning to you. I hope you're ready. I hope you're enjoying your breakfast. Thank you so much for joining us on Story Time. Garrick and Theo out in Pittsburgh. It looks like it's also rainy out there. Well, welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining in. Baby Theo and Garrick. And of course, Kate, good morning to you out in Pittsburgh. Thank you so much for joining in. Oh my goodness. I have not seen you in so long. How are you? Sam Black, how are you doing today? And of course, Sola and Iris, so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us all the way out in England. Good to see you back on Storytime. I hope you've been enjoying Storytime recordings. I hope. Thank you so much for joining in. Good to see you. Happy Friday. I am glad you're here today. Thank you so much for joining in. Aurelia Lee and of course, Andres out in Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today? Good to see you back on Storytime as well. And I hope you've been joining us with the recordings, of course. And please remember, all these books, find them at your local libraries, find them at your, where you get books, your school libraries, wherever you get books, find them, enjoy them some more. Thank you so much. And if you missed Storytime during the weekend, please go to our archives, plenty of stories to look at there as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Sarah and Nathan, how are you doing out in cloudy North Carolina? Oh my goodness, enjoy your visit out there. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Amanda West, good morning to you. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us today. I am glad that you are here. We have a special story today. This one is called Where Are You From? And it is written by Yamile Saied Mendez and of course illustrations by Jamie Kim. Powerful combination right there. And the book is coming right up. Get comfortable, get cozy wherever you are. And we're getting ready for this one. It is a lovely book indeed. So I hope you are ready. Good morning to you and welcome to Storytime. This is actually an interview that we did yesterday and we get to enjoy it together, and we also get to enjoy Yamile reading to us. So please do join me on the other side of this message. Thank you so much for being here on Storytime.
Hey, this is Timothy Goodspeed of the Soapbox Salute. I'm the one who wrote Storytime's theme song. If you'd like to hear more of my protest folk music, you can check out the links below on Instagram or at my website. You are watching Storytime with Mr. LaMotta.
Welcome back. Let me just share my screen here so that we can go ahead and enjoy this story that I have for you today. Thank you. Let me just pull it up really quickly. Where are you? It is a beautiful story and I am excited for it. All right, just bear with me as I pull it up. Thank you for joining us on Storytime. One more time. Yay. All right. Trying to find my screen. I had it all set up. One more time. Let me see. All right. Here we go. Do I have it? Yes, I do. All right, 1 second. Here we go. I want to share. Yay. All right. here comes our video. Hi everyone, and welcome to Story Time. A special interview today, and of course, read aloud from the amazing Yamile Saied Mendez. You cannot believe how excited I am right now to have her on Story Time today. And as you can see, the background is different today. I'm actually in my classroom. A meeting ran over, and then I was right here jumping onto this special occasion for me, and I hope for you out there too that will be joining in. And Ingrid, I know you're in Patagonia, Argentina. Well, I have one of yours today. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy this interview. And of course, I hope that you've been collecting some of Yamile's books as well. But to everybody that's joining in, wherever you're joining us today, I am so glad that you're here. We have a very special guest, a wonderful book that we're going to read together. And of course, just a few questions as we continue to learn about this amazing person. You know, I'm always curious about where, you know, like how people's brains work to come up with such amazing work. And of course, too, as we continue to celebrate, as you know, and commemorating National Hispanic Heritage Month. I know officially it came to a close on the 15th of October, but why should it end? Every day should be celebration of every culture. And we're here today continuing to celebrate that. A great way indeed to close a wonderful 2 weeks that we've had to enjoy. And before, you know, like without further ado, please help me in welcoming to Storytime Yamile Saied Mendez. Welcome to Story.
Hello. Thank you for the warm introduction. I'm honored to be here with you today, Mr. Dimara.
Oh no, I'm telling you, like, it is such a great honor for me today, and you deserve everything. It's amazing to have you here. Thank you for taking the time to be here.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, and where are you joining us from today?
I live in Utah, and so I am in my home office writing studio where I spend a lot of hours every day. At least I have a nice window with a view outside.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. No, and I've seen your library. If you've not seen Yamile's library, oh my goodness.
Go on my Instagram and you can see some little peek in there.
Yeah, no, it is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And please remember to follow Yamile on Instagram as well as Twitter, and find out, you know, like follow and see all the developments, all the things that happen. And you will get sneak peeks of little things that are coming out even before the rest of the world gets to know about it. So absolutely appreciate you. Yamile, I know that you're reading for us today, but before we go into that, I just wanted to, you know, to ask, like, what's a perfect Yamile day?
Oh, a perfect Yamile day. Weather-wise, it can be sunny like today, or I also love to write when it's raining or snowing here in Utah in the wintertime. A perfect day would be my kids going up to school, and then I get to enjoy a few hours of writing time, and the muse is whispering in my ear, my fingers are flying on my keyboard.
Yeah.
Perhaps I go on a walk with my dogs, drink some mate while I'm reading a book, because I have so many books. I wish I had extra pairs of eyes to keep reading.
Yeah.
I am reading 3 books right now, a little bit at a time of each.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. What are they? What are you reading right now?
So I'm reading one in Spanish called La Hija Única that was recommended by an Argentine author.
Oh.
I heard about this book, Debt, and they're gonna sound kind of boring. I don't know. But it's by David Graeber, who was an economist and anthropologist, and he had very interesting ideas. And then the last one by Mark Rashid, Horses Never Lie, because I'm working on my horse country series, and I love to spend time researching hands-on with horses. And my friend's barn, she allows me to come and spend time with her horses. But there are also some things that I learned from books. And so that's why I'm always reading other people's experiences to see if they relate to mine and how they're different and all that kind of.
That's amazing. I know. And I know I have a lot of questions for you. I'm sure people out there too today will be posting questions. Please post those questions. Leave them here, and I guarantee you I will forward them to Yamile, and hopefully, you know, like with a tight schedule, hopefully someday we get some, you know, some responses from them. But please, if you have questions that you do, I think it's great if you ask, and we'll try and get the answers for you.
Yes.
Since we're unable to have a live conversation today, but I'm still so glad that we're here together, at least for now, and doing this for the kids out
Yes,
there.
technology is magic, because in the before times, we wouldn't have been able to do this. So I'm just happy with how we're all more familiar with technology.
Yeah. Oh, no, I love it. All right. Well, I will let you read for now, and then when we come back, we can talk a little bit more after that.
Excellent. I'm going to be reading from my picture book, Where Are You From? Where Are You From was my second book that came out in 2019. That seems like such a long time, but it also feels like yesterday. And even though there have been many books after this one, it still has a very special place in my heart. It's still as relevant today as it was when I was writing it, and then as when it came out. Where are you from? Where are you from? They ask. Is your mom from here? Is your dad from there? They ask. I'm from here, from today, same as everyone else, I say. No, where are you really from? They insist. I ask Abuelo, because he knows everything, and like me, he looks like he doesn't belong. Where am I from? Abuelo thinks. His eyes squint like he's looking inside his heart for an answer. You come from the Pampas, the open, free land, he says. You're from the Gaucho, brave and strong, from the brown river that cleanses and feeds the land, that gives us the grain for our bread, the milk from the cows. You're from mountains so high they tickle Señor Cielo's belly, where the condor roosts his family and the jaguar prowls the night. But you're also from the warm blue oceans the copper warriors try to tame, and the elegant palm trees stretch their fingers to caress. You're from hurricanes and dark storms, and a tiny singing frog that calls the island people home when the sun goes to sleep. From this land where our ancestors built a home for all, even when they were in chains because of the color of their skin. You're from the grandmothers who search for their grandchildren, waiting, always waiting in a plaza, their white handkerchiefs wrapping the sorrow of their thoughts. You come from the sunshine that lights our path in this world and the rain that washes away our mistakes. But Abuelo, I ask, where am I really from? Abuelo laughs. You want a place? He points to his heart. You're from here, from my love and the love of all those before us. From those who dreamed of you because of a song sung under the Southern Cross, or the words in a book written under the light of their North Star. You're from all of us. I am. The end.
Oh, such a lovely book. Every time gets me, every time. And like, as an immigrant myself, every time I hear stories like this, and I hear too, like, super citizens of the world, and also just that constant questions like, where you from? And so, how did this book come up?
Oh my goodness, this book has an interesting story behind it. When people ask me where I'm from, I live in Utah. I've lived in the United States for 24 years, but I was born and raised in Rosario, Argentina. And even though also a long time ago I became a US citizen, when people ask me pretty much every day, every time I go out, at least somebody will ask me where I'm from. Right. I always answer, I'm from Argentina, because the heart wants what it wants. And culturally and in my heart, I'm from Argentina, although I have a US passport. Yeah. That's not a question in my mind. My husband's from Puerto Rico, And although he doesn't look like people think Puerto Ricans look like, he's very much a Puerto Rican. But when our children are asked that question, I always see in their eyes the flicker of thought,
Yeah.
What do I say? Am I from Argentina, from Puerto Rico? I'm from here. And one day we were at a book signing, and the author asked very nicely, he was curious, he heard us speak in Spanish. He asked my son where he was from, and my son did not know how to answer. And that experience stayed with me for a long time. So when I was doing my master's program in the Vermont College of Fine Arts, it was in between semesters, and this poem just came from my heart for my children. It was so specific. I didn't have any plans to become a book. But for my graduation, we had to read a writing, and I decided to read this poem that no teacher, no advisor had ever seen. And the reception was so overwhelmingly warm and positive. And everybody was coming up to me after their reading saying, you need to send this to your agent. This needs to become a book. And although I never thought that my first book that I sold would be a picture book, my agent sent it out. And immediately we had people that were interested in publishing it. So it's one of those things that are meant to be. And the words, although there were a few minor changes, the words are still pretty much the same as the poem that I just wrote. Children.
And do you feel, because it is such a, you see that book, it's probably one of the most recognized books. And I think it's safe to say, well, like at least from just being in the US and like even in every school, it's such a like a visible book in most places. And also you see it, you just know it's like, oh, there it is. And so just wondering too, like, had you met or how did you connect with Kim, Jamie?
Kim, my goodness. So when, we authors don't have a lot of power in saying, what the final title of a book will be or the illustrations. And I'm not a visual artist. So, of course, I had a little idea what I wanted the book to be, but I wasn't sure what the final pictures would look like. And when my editor matched me with Jamie, and so when I had seen her portfolio before she did even a sketch on our book, I was just blown away by the magic of it and the I don't know, there was something special in her, in the people that she drew, and the children especially. And also Jamie came, although she's much younger than I am, she also came to the United States as a student when she was 19. She's from Korea. And we had that in common, and it was incredible to see how our stories told in words or in pictures complemented each other. So,
right.
And she asked me a few things about Argentina, but she did a lot of research, especially that spread of the Madre de Plazas de Mayo in Buenos Aires. I was just so blown away by the attention to detail, because that's a real place in Argentina, and it looks just like it does in the book. So it was very special to see how we both told the same story without knowing each other. And 12 years ago.
That's great. And have you gone on to work on other books together?
No, we have not, because she's in demand. She is a very popular illustrator. It's very hard to find that schedules. But I never say never. Hopefully in the future.
No, absolutely love it. And then your books, like have gone on. I mean, you have so many, but let's just talk about this one, for example. I know we have What Will You Be? How was this one, or how did it come up?
What will you be is another of those questions that children get asked all the time. With where are you from? Of course, my main target audience were my children, and then children like them that are asked where they're from. But we all come from somebody, so it applies to everybody, even if they're not an immigrant or if their family doesn't come, from different places.
Right, because we have accents, we have all sorts of things that
we all have ancestors.
We
all come from somebody or at some place. And what will you be is a question that children, no matter what their background is, are asked even when they're little. And sometimes we get the impression that we have to have an answer right away when we're young. Before we went live, we were talking about my teenage children. And when my oldest, when he was about to finish high school, he was so anxious because he did not know what he was going to be when he grew up. And I kept telling him, I didn't think I could become an author until my late 20s.
Right.
And so I had other careers, and there's still things that I want to do with my life. So I feel that sometimes in our culture we equate our identity to what we do for work, and there are many other things that can help us grow as people that sometimes you're not paid for.
Right.
Yeah, mom, but I always wanted to be a mom.
No,
That's a big job for me. And I can be an author at the same time. And like I said, there are many other things that I would like to do in the future. And so I wanted to explore what it means to want to become something.
No, I absolutely love it. And you mentioned a few things in there. One of them you mentioned was not knowing what you were going to be or what you want to be. And it's okay. And I had just today in the classroom, and it's funny that I'm still in the classroom, but one of my students, just top person, she came up and she's like, Miss Lamada, I do not want to be a police officer anymore. No, I think I want to be a designer. I want to be and then she showed me these pictures of
I love it.
Designed the choker, and she designed all this dress and stuff. And so I was like, well, good. No, if like wherever your heart takes you, what you feel like, and it's like, you're young. I'm much older than you, and I still go through moments of like, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should.
Yes, I totally see that. And it doesn't have to be a progression, like, okay, you are, I don't know, let's say you're a lawyer, and then you become an author, and then you become a teacher. Sometimes things can be super unrelated, and that's okay.
No, that's amazing. And, like, I know that we have a few of your books that it's just, like, I'm always amazed at just how brains work, and just, brains like yours that can churn out these amazing. It's like, but anyway, it's so amazing. I'm just I'll talk about this one now. How did this one come about, and what's this one about?
Okay, so going off on the what will we be, I've growing up in Argentina, that has a very strong culture of the gaucho, where the South American cowboys. I've always loved horses. I grew up in the city, but around Rosario you see Las Pampas, the open land. There were a lot of horses, but I never rode as a child. But in 2020 I started taking horseback riding lessons, and it helped me a lot with different aspects of my life. And I was just amazed at the connection that I have with the horses. And so I started, of course, once I become interested in something, I become kind of obsessed. I research all I can about it. And I was very sad to see that although this relationship with horses is so beneficial for children, the children who need this connection the most have no access to them. It's so expensive. It's so out of their reach. And so we have stories about horses and horse girls and horse boys, but there's always a certain type of story about competition, or the equestrian sports are so expensive again. And sometimes we should be able to do things even if they're not to compete, if they're just for the sake of it. And that's how Horse Country was born, just this girl who loves horses, who wants to make this connection to horses available to children who don't have the chance. And so it's been so magical and healing and really awesome to work on this story.
I've only been on a horse a few times, and honestly, like, just the feel of the muscle, and like, it was just really interesting. Today, Thursday, we read the one by Isabel Quintero, My Papi Has a Motorcycle.
Oh, I love that book.
And there's a part where she says, I could feel my papi smile as we zoomed through. Like, that put such a picture in my head, because you could feel, like, you don't see someone smile, you don't know, you just feel them smile. And so that's like that, when you talk about that connection with these animals, these horses, like I'm picturing that, where you just, because you're so intimate, you're so close, and it's just such a powerful feeling. And access that you mentioned is just something that we really should be advocating for sure.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. I appreciate that so much. And I know too that, like you have this book, and then there's another one that you
look at that one. Yes. My other little child. Wish Upon a Stray was a very, very personal story to work on, because it's about this girl who comes to the United States because her parents have a job opportunity. Yeah. And she had been born in the US, but grew up in Argentina. And that mirrors very much the experience of one of my nephews. He lives in Argentina. He's actually my godson. And he was born in the US, but culturally he's from Argentina. And whenever he came to the US, it was very interesting to see his relationship with the language, with the culture, what tells you, what are the markers that tells you that you're from a place, where's your home. And so I had all these questions in my mind. And also talking about ancestors. In Wish Upon a Stray, my main character, Maria Emilia, receives from her grandmother a binder with letters from the great-great-grandma who had moved from Italy to Argentina more than 100 years ago. And so my character, Maria Emilia, gets to identifies with the girl that lived so long ago, but had so much in common with her. And so she talks about how languages are lost sometimes, the things that we keep from our heritage. And so with my family coming from many different places in the world, including Italy, that was very personal, and it was very cathartic and also healing to share this story for my audience.
Oh no, that I've thought about too. Is like, and living out here too, I've thought about it where I'm like, if I did have kids out here, like how would I teach them my languages? Because I speak so many from home, but it's like, how would I teach them? Especially if say it's just one side, and like how, but it's definitely
hard. We speak Spanish at home, but my children have different relationships with the language. My little one, he doesn't speak it much, although he understands. So, a lot of my stories, although I'm not writing about my life directly, I do pull from my personal life and things that I think about all the time.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And also, and your books are so powerful. And I'm sure too, I don't know how much you take that on board, but you are a powerful figure. You're a powerful woman of color. And so like, how do all these intersect, and how have those, changed you as a person, or what part do they play in your life?
These are very, very interesting questions that I think about all the time. And I feel like in my position, I have the privilege now of doing what I have always wanted to do. I love being an author. I love telling stories. I am writing in a language that is not my mother tongue, but I do feel powerful that I can use my native language and my adopted language to tell stories that really do affect people, because they talk about real feelings. Even if the situations are not real, they're all based in real, true emotion. So I sometimes I feel like I'm just a regular person doing my work, but then when I receive a note from a young reader and they shared with me their own poem about where they're from, or they tell me, I didn't know that. Or for example, somebody saw the trailer of Wish Upon a Stray at school, and the teacher sent me a note from this little student who said, this author looks just like my mom. They sound the same. I didn't know Latina could be an author. I want to be an author. That makes me so happy, because representation is so important. Children cannot become what they never see.
Exactly.
If they don't know that they have the option of doing things that they can become. So I see my power in that way. And at the same time, I think about my ancestors, especially the women in my family who didn't go to school, I'm the first person in my family to graduate, even from high school, less from college. And so their names are not on the cover of my book.
Oh, let me just bring it up. There we go. Yes.
The name of my mom, my grandmothers, my aunts, my cousins are not on the cover of the book, but they are very present in my heart. And
Yes.
so I am here today because of the sacrifice of my family through the generations. It's possible for me to be here.
Yeah, like the saying goes, right? Like we stand on shoulders of mighty people, indeed, mighty warriors. No, I appreciate that. I can definitely relate, and I know, like my own experience, like just connection to that too, is just my mom was a single mom, but the amount of people that passed through our home that she took care of, that she helped take care of, that she helped set on a path is just amazing. And also I'm always in awe at how much she was able to do. But then thank my grandfather, the people that propped her up as well, sent her to school, sending a girl to school in a place like Zambia where sometimes, like the girls are opted to kept home, versus going out to school, especially if you're in the rural areas where my mom grew up. And so, I absolutely, like relate to that and just thank you. And also, please, I hope that, as you're going out there, please unashamedly go out there and wield your power, because you are a force, you are a force, a good force. And we need that in the world right now. And so really appreciate what you're doing, whether it's things that have landed on you or the ones that you've chosen.
No, and I always say that words have a lot of power, and being somebody in the business of working with words all the time, I do feel like reading is a superpower. And so it's so important. I feel like in our society, that's what we need more. We need readers who can and that is a superpower.
Oh no, that is so true. And like the other thing I just wanted to ask you too is, like, you had awards come your way. Like, how has that felt? And also what, like, how did those make you feel? Like, just how
that I always do think that the joy is in the journey of writing a story, and once it's out, it belongs to the reader. But I do feel the recognition of the Pura Belpré Award and other awards like this, because I've always looked up a lot of my favorite authors who have received that recognition as well, made such an impact in my life, and now to be counted among them is such an honor. It also presents a great opportunity for my books to be available to people who might not ever hear about them had it not been for the Pura Belpré Award. So I'm so grateful and humbled. And sometimes I still pinch myself when I see my medal in my office. Like, that really happened. And it also motivates me to keep on being authentic and telling authentic stories. Not to go chasing, a trend in the market. So it's a great honor and a great motivation to do my best.
And like, to have, I think for you to be carrying that name, the Pura Belpré, just as a trailblazer herself who came, like, I think it's just such a, I think it's so fitting that you're carrying this banner, you're carrying on that light and that, like that message and just the power. And I think, like, when I saw that, I was just so happy for you. I was like, it was such a good feeling for me, and I'm glad that you too are getting the good feeling from it.
Yes, it was wonderful, especially because in 2020, so many books came out from the Latina community. There were so many stories that I thought, oh my goodness, this has to be in everybody's hands. And to be able, because I had been told in the past that Furia was such a specific story, and it took so long for that book to finally be published, and then to have that recognition was just incredible.
Oh yeah, no, do you have a favorite book? I know it's like probably it's like children. Do you have a favorite book among yours?
I cannot pick a favorite. They all have a part of my heart. But I would say that my favorite is always the one that I'm working on right now.
That's
I have to give it all the love.
I love it. Oh, that's so good. but then of others, who are some of your favorite authors, poets, and so. And this month I've been working with my students. We've been doing some of the poetry because we're in a poetry unit right now in 4th grade. So we brought in a friend shared. Actually, big up to you, Sujira. Thank you. She sent me a few more, like resources. Like, there's some, like Latinx, poets and so on that you could read on, and then it was just so nice to dive into all the different ones, and then giving the little kids like, what do you think this poem is about? What do you know, like how do you relate to this?
That's fantastic.
So are there some of yours that are favorite?
Yes, I'm glad you asked, because I do love poetry and the work of Aida Salazar, my fellow musa in Las Musas. She writes stories in verse. And so each chapter is a poem. And she has The Moon Within and The Land of the Cranes, among other books.
Yes.
And her books are just beautiful. Also, Margarita Engel. She is one of the iconic Latina authors. She's been writing for a long time. And especially her book, Two Wings. It's her story about being a daughter of a Cuban immigrant.
I don't know that one. Two Wings, you said?
Yes. And so I just love her work. And but again, I would say the read Aida Salazar. Her books are very powerful. And very they're just stunning.
Oh, that's amazing. No, I'm adding all those to my list, but also funny enough too, do you ever do this where you go to a bookstore and you're like, I have 10 on my unread list?
Oh, all the time.
I'm leaving with a ton more.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I know that there's soccer practice happening, there's all this, but I will not let you leave before we talk about soccer.
Oh, thank you.
Boca Juniors or River Plate? Or who do you go?
Neither. My team is Rosario Central. We have the same colors as Boca Juniors, but that's about it.
Yeah, awesome. No, I love it. Diego Maradona or Pele?
Diego Maradona. I don't want to get my Argentine card revoked.
Right. Just to all everybody who's out there, who's listening in, if you're just joining us, remember that we're with Yamile Saied Mendez. And that name too, I love saying it so much because now I know I'm saying it correctly. At least I'm as close as I can be. But I remember the first time I think I kept saying Yamile or this. Where does the name come from, and how, is it, like a regional name, or how is it? It's just such a...
Well, I'm glad you asked. My grandfather was he was of Syrian and Palestinian ancestry, and he moved to Argentina a long time ago, and he named me. So Yamile is an Arabic name pronounced with an Argentine accent. We say the Y like an SH. And then Sayed is my maiden name, which is Arabic.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good to know. It really puts, puts pieces to the puzzle, because it's
exactly.
Always...
Yes, I know. Nobody gets it right. So,
but you were very gentle when you reminded me about it. When you talk about it, I was like, that's how you say it.
No, I understand.
Yeah, no, thank you. And anything in closing that you want to share with the people out there? What can they expect from you? How can they follow you?
Well, I'm very active in Instagram and Twitter at Yamile S. Mendez, and also my website, YamileSMendez.com. I was going to say punto. YamileSMendez.com. And I always do my best to reply to messages. I love hearing from readers. It always brightens my day. Yeah. And my final words will be of gratitude. Thank you for spending the time with my books. I know it's a big commitment to choose to spend time with a story, and I appreciate it. That means the world to me. That's what I always dreamed as a little girl, and it's amazing to me that it became a reality. and keep sharing books with your favorite books with your classmates and your families, and tell your own stories. I always tell children that to tell your own stories, sometimes you don't only need to use words. We can tell them in picture, in
Yeah.
song, in poetry, in dance. We can even tell a story through dance. So
Yeah.
express the story that you have in your heart.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm so glad that you're here and really sharing your powerful stories. I keep sharing them in, like in the classroom, and encouraging kids too. Even sometimes when we're not going to read it as a class, just like, hey, is this book? What do you think? Or, have you tried it? And then just also, I always find that it's just so powerful because, and, like I don't speak Spanish, but I've been trying, and I hope one day I can, like fully learn and be able to.
I appreciate
you just see, like, as soon as I'll say something, it's just like, oh, or even if it's just moment of like, Mr. Mara, you do not say it like that. It's like this, just to see their power in that moment, to be like, hey, it's like this, and then just celebrate them that way. So it's been, like books like yours, works like yours are just so amazing, and just I hope that you get a snippet wherever you go, of just that, how powerful, how far you're reaching with these books. And
Thank you.
I'm really honored today to have you here. It is such a pleasure, such an honor. I'm really very happy. Thank you so much for spending time with us on Storytime.
Of course, thank you for all you do.
Yeah, and then I know too that we just commemorated National Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes.
What does that mean for you? What does that, symbolize for you?
Well, it's a short period of time in which we get to showcase stories by Latino and Hispanic authors. But like you said at the beginning, our stories are there year round, consume all the time.
Yeah.
So I hope that we get support from our readers all year long, because our stories are valid every day of the year.
Yeah. Oh, I love your work, and I appreciate you so much as a person, as an author, for everything that you're doing. And I hope that, like all those little kids that are watching out there, and everybody out there too that has a dream, like I hope that you're working towards them, and that, we continue to work. And like you mentioned, it's a process. We're continuing to work through that. So may, you continue contributing to building a wonderful world, a world that, is welcome and opening doors for so many people. Absolutely appreciate you. And today I'm just so happy that you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for this time. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much. I'll catch you on the other side.
Okay.
All right. Oh my goodness. What a day today. Thank you so much. I was joined here by Yamile Saied Mendez. I just love her work. I love her as a person, and just thank you to everybody that joined in. And of course, remember, you can find these books at your local libraries. You can find them at your local bookstores. Find them where you get books. There are all kinds of community libraries right now. If you have books, you have enough that you can spare and share with others, why not do that? These are books that are powerful. These are books that are there to make this world a better place. Thank you so much for joining me on Storytime today. Always appreciate the time with you. But of course, a big thank you to our guest today, Yamile Saied Mendez. And you got to learn a little bit more about her. And please go ahead and follow YamileMendez.com. You can find her, and also on Instagram and Twitter, Yamile S. Mendez. Go ahead, follow, and you will not be disappointed. As you know, the work is amazing. And just such powerful people in the world. Blessings to you, Yamile, and your family and your ancestors for producing such a fine person in the world for us to benefit from. Thank you so much. And for everybody that is joining in Storytime, of course, have a lovely day wherever you are. Remember, you have a part to play. No matter how small it may seem, you are important. Your work is important. You matter. Your voice matters. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I will see you again on Monday. What a week we've had. Thank you so much for being here. Much love. Bye-bye. Wow. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. I am so glad that we were able to enjoy such a great conversation with Yamile. I am glad you're here. And if you're still around enjoying story time, I hope that you enjoyed that conversation. Such a powerful, powerful conversation indeed. And I hope that, please, if you have any questions, do send them my way. Send them email if you have it. Message on Facebook, Instagram, however you get it to me, and I will be sure to pass on those messages to Yamile. What a wonderful week we've had indeed. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I was so happy today too to see all those amazing faces come back today. Some people I've not seen for a little bit. I absolutely appreciate it, and of course all the regulars as well. Love you to bits. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime, and I am glad that we are able to spend another week together. Next week we are back and it's Halloween stories. Yes, join me for Halloween stories, a few scary stories and some fun ones as well. So join in and it'll be fun together, and we should if you have any recommendations, please send them my way. Thank you for being here on Storytime. I hope that you are well wherever you are, whether it's chilly where you are, warm, if it's rainy like here in Oakland. Please, I hope you're doing what's needed to stay comfortable, and I hope that you are comfortable indeed where you are. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Sam Black, absolutely love seeing you back here. Thank you. Zala and Iris, absolutely appreciate you being here on Storytime. Good to see you after a while. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. And yes, Aurelia, Lee, and Andres, good to see you back as well. Thank you so much for joining in. And for those that are joining us after, for the recording, please leave us a message. Let us know you were here, and so we can say hi to you next time. Yes, Ellen Edwards, sending you love out in Chicago. And of course, Amanda Wortman and Baby Bia and Marlon and Nate, good morning to you out in Seattle, sending you love. And everybody else that is joining in, please let us know you were here. Henry and Marietta out on the East Coast, thank you so much for joining in. And of course, Bolden and Chrissy, appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for joining in. And if there's anybody that I'm forgetting right now, remember too that we're sending you love, lots of love to you. Thank you so much for joining in. Appreciate it. Yes, indeed. The great Bob Marley. Thank you so much for joining in. Doreen, absolutely appreciate it. Hope you're having a lovely time there in El Salvador. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been story time for today. Absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us today. Pamela, Courtney, Braylon and Chad, oh, I love that you are here. And of course, sending you love, Kavaya, as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Chriselle, Rocco, and Clay, absolutely lovely to see you here. Wonderful to see you here. Thank you so much for joining us out in Long Beach. Enjoy it. Please do stay warm. And you know what, Rocco and Clay, you're in the perfect place, because I know there's beautiful hats that your mommy makes and all those beautiful, beautiful things, sweaters that you can also wear. Thank you for joining in. So it's never too chilly for you, is it? Abraham, absolutely appreciate you out in San Leandro. Garrick and baby Theo, thank you for joining us in rainy Pittsburgh. Yes, Pittsburgh is like Oakland today. Rainy. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you love the rain. Thank you so much for joining in. And in North Carolina today, how are you doing? Cloudy, North Carolina. Sarah, Nathan, and Amanda West, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy your visit out there. Thank you for being here on Story Time. Absolutely love it. Thank you to everybody that joined in today. And remember that Story Time is back next week with all the Halloween stories. So please do join me then. And of course, keep sending those recommendations so we can bring them here to Story Time. Oh my goodness, my heart is full. Thank you so much for joining me on Story Time and for making me happy as I feel right now. Thank you. Have yourselves a lovely day, a lovely weekend. And of course, please remember to read some books. Read some books on the way today. Read some books tomorrow. And of course, we'll be back reading more books together on Monday. Thank you so much for joining in. Have a lovely, lovely day. Much love, hugs, yes, for all of you out there. Thank you for joining me on Story Time. Oh, thank you, thank you. I go into my day feeling happy, and it's because partly of this community that we've built together. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you again next week. Much love. Bye-bye.
He brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live long. Story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing.